All right, I think that's good. I wore this shirt a couple weeks ago and the collar was all messed up and I didn't know it because nobody told me. So I caught it when I was editing the video. Anyways, happy Sunday everybody. Welcome back. My name's Anthony. I'm going through every dish mentioned in The Sopranos or in the cookbook Entertaining with The Sopranos and the cookbook, the Soprano Family Cookbook, compiled by Artie Bucco. Now before we get any further, just do me a real quick favor. If you haven't clicked subscribe in that lower corner right there, please do so now. It's free for you and it helps me out. Plus you'll get to know when I post the next video. All right, so this week's scene.
Listen. Oh, she's driving me crazy.
Oh.
Next door. There it is again. Oh. That's enough water. How much water does she need? She runs the water all day. Water, water, water. I'm living next door to Gunga Din.
I went down to Ferraris. I got you some Biscotti.
Almonds?
Yeah.
All right. Leave them there. I'll take them downstairs later for my coffee.
Moms can be pretty hard to please, especially when that mom is Livia. But hey, at this time she at least willingly accepted the cookies, unlike the macaroons last time. By the way, you might notice I'm not drinking San Antonio this week. This is actually my friend Abel Maldonado's label, Runway, because he's a pilot. He gave this to me to enjoy Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And if you like Pinots, I highly suggest it. But it's a bit of a waiting list to get a hold of a bottle, so good luck with that. Real quick, before we get too far into this recipe, I want to issue a quick correction, courtesy of a fellow YouTuber, Eddie, and I suggest you check out his YouTube channel. It's Live, Love, and Eat. I'll put a link in the description below. He is from New Jersey. He's already done the pork chops and vinegar peppers that I'm gonna be doing way down the road. So if you don't feel like waiting, you can go ahead and check out his version. But anyways, during the meatball episode, I pronounced this rouse. According to him, it's actually Rayos. Now the internet can be a pretty mean place sometimes, and people like correcting others like, oh, you're so stupid. People can be jerks, but Eddie was super gracious and was like, hey buddy, just so you know, like this is how you actually pronounce it. So Rayos, I am always willing to be corrected and taught the proper way to do things. So anyways, check out his channel. I put the link in the description below. On to the recipe. So we're doing Biscotti di Pinoli. These are Pinoli. I had to Google what it was, and it translates to pine nuts. Not a cheap nut, but very delicious. So in the scene, Tony says, I brought you Biscotti, and Olivia says, almond? Well, we already did an almond recipe, and this also calls for almond. Actually calls for 8 ounces. For some reason, the almond paste company that Albertsons has 7-ounce containers. So I have to buy 2 ounces to get 8 because I didn't feel like doing the math. This recipe is also kind of weird because it says use 2 egg whites, but have extra egg white on standby. Use a cup of confectioner's sugar, aka powdered sugar, but have more on standby. And then of course there are the pinolis, or pine nuts. So first step, make sure you have a food processor with a big old bowl. We are going to crumble this paste in there. I gotta tell you, I'm not sure about that. Okay, now remember, with all these recipes, I have been a cook before. I've never claimed to be a professional chef. If Gordon Ramsay's ever watching me, it's simply to make fun of me, not to say how great of a job I'm doing. This is really sort of just like a log of me trying some of these recipes for the first time. So if you learn something, if you pick up what to do or what not to do, that's great. I'm not necessarily promising a whole lot of educational. Hopefully I'm at least entertaining. So the book says to crumble the almond paste in, and I don't, like, what does that mean? Does it mean I have to like tear apart each bit? Somebody tell me in the comments. I'm just gonna go ahead and try this because it's paste. It doesn't necessarily crumble. By the way, if you haven't yet, go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I feel I need to point that out. I'm not talking Kelvin. All right, I can't really call that a crumble so much, but I got all the almond paste into the bowl. Next step, beat in the egg whites. the confectioner's sugar or the powdered sugar. I don't know how to describe what's going on in here right now. Egg white normally pulls things together, but in this case, it's actually making the almond paste more liquidy. And as I add the sugar, it's starting to become more of a dough. I'm coming to the conclusion that I don't like working with almond paste. So the recipe says to do this until it's smooth and sticky. Looking in there, well, it's sticky. Still kind of lumpy. Tastes good. You know, for the most part, I really like this cookbook. There's a lot of good recipes in there. But every once in a while, I come across the recipe and I'm like, really? That's all you're gonna tell me? Like, it doesn't say at what speed to beat this, but smooth is kind of a relative term. So, I don't believe cookbooks should be using relative terms. I want exactness. For example, 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's an exactness. Tell me, medium speed or high speed, like whatever. Like, give me details, dang it. I kind of think that's probably as smooth as I'm gonna get it. Now the recipe says that I should get 30 cookies out of this. I'm not sure if that's gonna happen, but I have 2 pans lined and ready to go anyways. The book says to do a scant tablespoon, which this spoon that I have in my hand is basically, it's what I would consider a scant tablespoon. But again, what I would consider a scant tablespoon, that's another judgment call. It's a relative term, so you do what you want. But at a scant tablespoon, I should get 30. We'll see if I do or not. Now these should be round. I'm gonna try dropping it in. And we're just gonna, oh, pine nuts everywhere. This is gonna get messy, I can tell. So I got it covered. And there's one. By the way, if you don't feel like paying pine nut prices, and I don't blame you, the book also said that slivered, almost said onions. The book also said that slivered almonds would work. And I'm gonna call bullshit on getting 30 of these cookies out. Mine might be too big, that's why I'm not gonna get 30. I don't think these are gonna come out pretty, but I really just care that they come out tasty. As is often the case, you usually get the hang of something right about the time that you're almost done. Did I mention leave about an inch of space all the way around? Make that an inch and a half. Well, those are full, but thankfully, I was prepared with an emergency backup. And here we have the last one. I have to do math, 18 plus 7, 25. So I was only 5 short, and had I done them all this size, I probably would have had that extra 5, and I probably would have gotten the 30 that the book talked about. So, okay, Michelle, you won that round. I'm sorry for doubting you. I just make really big size cookies. This is already preheated and ready to go, and in they go for 18 to 20 minutes, which gives plenty of time to clean up this. All right, I'm gonna put one of these back in for another 2 to 3 minutes. Well, I am happy to announce that this timer's gonna go off mid-sentence. That I did a quick Google search just because I'm curious like that, and these actually pretty much look like the pictures that you would see on Google. So, mission accomplished there. The recipe says to let them cool in the pan for 2 minutes, and then after that, transfer them to a cooling rack. Now, I used wax paper, parchment paper. Knew it was gonna go off. So I can just go ahead and slide them off onto this nice, cool countertop. The book said to butter the pan, and I thought parchment paper would be enough. And it pretty much is, but there is some sticking action going on. So, I don't know, maybe butter the parchment paper. I got my sifter here. I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of the powdered sugar. That one looks like it's Christmas time. And I just wanna give them a slight snowfall. I didn't want to completely cover them like that one, but whatever. All right, now let's see. Let's try this one out. That is pretty good. I like this way better than the last recipe that I did with almond paste. Speaking of the last time that I used almond paste, quick shout out to a fellow YouTuber, Virginia, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, Califano. Her YouTube is Southern Belle 816. I put a link in the description. She's a musician. And hey Virginia, I am so happy that you got a smile from my video, but I gotta tell you, your videos made me smile too. Specifically, your piano cover of Time After Time by Green Day, one of my favorite songs, and also I Will Rise happens to be one of my favorite hymns as well. So please, please keep making music. It was awesome. We all need a smile in this day and age. And everybody, I highly suggest you check out her page. Like I said, her link is in the description. Well, that's it for this week. Please do me a huge favor. If you haven't yet, click subscribe. The bubble should appear right about here. Try these out for yourselves. Let me know how they turned out for you, and hit me up on all my social medias that are scrolling below. Next week, we're going a bit healthier than cookies, but you have to tune in and watch. So please, again, subscribe, and I'll see you next Sunday. Have a great week, and manja.